Hello, Virgo. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Virgo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Virgo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here we have Prince of Wands. Interesting. I feel like you're somebody who feel like you can endure, Virgo, I feel like sometimes you commit yourself to something even when it's kind of irritating you, You kind of hold yourself in the fire a lot longer than you maybe should or than other people maybe would because I don't know, it's part of your nature. There's this commitment in you. It's almost like you're somebody that really does stick around even when other people would have taken off a long time ago. Okay. So I wonder if in your life you've maybe stayed in relationships longer than you should have, if you have stayed committed to something or loyal to something or involved in something, even when you felt like it was painful, you have this commitment and you have this ability to really stick around. Okay. I even feel like at some point in your life you kind of, and maybe we're feeling that way now. I don't know. I can't really tell, but it feels like you're sticking around, but you really don't want to be there. And it's kind of like you're waiting for something else to happen so you don't have to make that decision, or you know what I mean? You're sticking around kind of maybe hoping the other person will break up with you, right? That sort of energy. And to me, this is kind of related to like you got that job that you really don't like, you really hate, and you're just kind of waiting for them to fire you. You're waiting for them to let you go for something. We got to explore this energy. This is interesting energy. What do we have with that? Well, we've got the Moon card. The High Priestess card, moon energy, full moon energy, right, with the High Priestess. So I feel like the High Priestess there's a message here. There's a very important message. Spirit wants you to pay very close attention. But you have to be in a receptive attitude. Your challenge right now is to trust your instinct, to listen to yourself, right? This card is it's the conflict. It's your quest right now. You're on a quest for this kind of spiritual enlightenment. For this is the High Priestess energy. To me, represents the lunar energy waxing, right? The aperture is getting wider, right? It's a larger portal of communication to the divine energy. So this is really, I think, about a growing intuition in you that you can't ignore any longer. And I think your challenge right now is to be open and receptive to what Spirit's telling you, and do what you will with it, but to listen, okay? To be aware of this open line of communication. Really listen to yourself. Really listen to your intuition, because it is coming from Spirit. Okay. Let's see what else is going on. What's underneath the surface? The other Moon card. This is the actual Moon card. To me, this represents the closing of the lunar energy. This represents the waning moon. This represents the aperture getting, more narrow. So I feel that you go through periods of time in your life where you feel more connected with Spirit and more intuitive, and you're trusting yourself, you're going with your gut and things, you're really in this kind of flow with yourself. Then there's other times where it almost feels like you're disconnected from your true self, disconnected from your guardians, your angels, your spirit guides, your ancestors, God, goddess, deities, whatever, right? And during these periods of time are kind of times of confusion and uncertainty. I mean, that's what this card's all about, right? Deception, confusion, uncertainty, just a cacophony of images that we can't make sense out of. It's kind of like the dream images, you know? But I feel like your challenge right now is to almost voluntarily, intentionally open up that aperture and reconnect with Spirit, because there's a situation right now that Spirit really is trying to send you a message. Okay? Let's keep going here. Let's see what is in the background position. The Star card. We've got all the celestial bodies today. And now we've got the Star in the background. And I feel like I don't feel like this is something holding you back. I feel like this is something nagging at you. This is something that's like nipping at your heels, right? And I feel like this is the sense of your true path, your true nature, your divine energy, your aspirations, your will, all of the hopes and dreams that you have in your life. And I feel like this is back here in the past because I don't know that you're not committed. I don't know that you're really following your true path, okay? And I think sometimes you feel that. Sometimes you know that this is just not where I'm supposed to be. I've fallen kind of away from my true work, my true spiritual work, my inner work, the connection with God, goddess, deities, with spirit guides, guardian angels, ancestors, that sort of thing. But that you've somehow strayed from the path. But that feeling never goes away. It's always nipping at your heels. There have been times where I've strayed from my spiritual path. And it's a nagging feeling. It's a strange thing. It's almost like there's a little string attached to your heart and Spirit's just tugging at it. And it's when I'm just kind of, I've been lost in many things in my life, right? And you always feel that little tug from Spirit that says, don't forget your path is here when you're ready to come back, okay? So I feel like it's this sense of destiny that is nagging at you, and it's really Spirit pulling at that heartstring and sending you this message about the situation that you're in now, okay? Well, let's keep going. We're going through these pretty quickly today. Now we've got the Hierophant energy, and it's up above the path, right? This is kind of like a motivating energy. This is kind of a driving force for you. And I wonder if this is really you getting in touch with your true self or your guardian angel, right? I wonder if this is something to do with you kind of following this path. This is what it leads to. And this is what we want, but right now we feel as if we're kind of cut off from the spiritual energy a little bit, or maybe a lot of it, I don't know. This could be really you, in a practical sense, this could be the idea that you've put your career kind of on the back burner, or there's a relationship that's kind of on the back burner, that you really have this desire to excel and to exceed and to reach the kind of pinnacle of success on whatever path you're on. This really is kind of a union with God in a way. Or it could be really you achieving that career height that you're looking for. Whatever the goal really is, I feel like it's a pretty fixed goal, right? And it's something that you're very aware of, and it's something that used to be very motivating to you. And I feel like it still is, but I feel as if we're committed to something now with that Prince of Wands, right? We're in something that just almost intuitively, you kind of know it doesn't feel right. There's something about it, okay? It could be with this card at the top that we've been convinced in a way that this is where we're supposed to be. Okay. I think really what's going on is this. I think that in this state of kind of disconnected feeling, we expand the lunar energy. The moon is waxing. The psychic energy is growing. The lunar aperture is widening, right? And we're letting in more of the divine light. And that, of course, leads us to our spiritual goals and our earthly goals, leads us to our master, leads us to our higher authority, leads us to our true self. And that's what the Hierophant is. It's that sacred self. Okay? So I feel like this is the spiritual path for you. This is where we're going. But right now, I feel as if we are, I feel as if we are headed this way and we're maybe stuck right here. And we're being challenged by this intuition that's still trying to get us up this way, right? It's our destiny, it's our true path. What's in the future position? Three of Wands. And the Three of Wands, if we're looking at things this way, the Three of Wands is us making that decision to steer the tanker, to turn our ship back to our true will, back to our goals, back to our aspirations and our destiny. Okay. The Three of Wands is kind of asking you to look at things in a very objective and honest way. The Trinity, right, is really a unity. So this is your will. This is your ability to steer the ship. And I think right now you're kind of holding the ship steady. We have to look at this will, and we have to be aware of the intuition, right? We have to ask ourselves, as far as physically, mentally, emotionally, where are we? What are we feeling? Let's take stock. This is the card of virtue. This is the card of doing the right thing, even when it's difficult, even when it might be painful or challenging, right? And so this is not necessarily the answer. This isn't telling you what to do, but this is saying that you will discover what to do, right? And the intuition is telling you something about this path and this path. It could be that, in a certain sense, now we don't have any air energy here yet. So far, it's a lot of major arcana, right? It could be that we feel as if where we are now is a very important part of our destiny. And the Three of Wands really could be saying that, yeah, I'm fixed in this uncomfortable position because that means I'm on my path. And so in some ways, it's almost as if I'm tolerating this because it must be meant for me. There must be a reason why I'm suffering thus, right? And so we stay in this. We feel that by doing the difficult thing, well, this is difficult, it must be the right thing, right? Just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's the right thing. Just as, just because something doesn't feel good doesn't mean it's wrong, right? But sometimes it is. And that's where we have to trust our intuition. Is this something that you're meant to endure, right? Is this painful but also correct? Or is this painful and also we should get the heck out of there? That's the Three of Wands. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right here. Frankenduck right on top. I still don't like Frankenduck. We might be going with Shelley. But I'd like to do an AKA, so if you have another name, leave it in the comments. If you have a prediction for that card, leave it in the comments. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free, and it helps out the channel, and I really appreciate that. If you are already subscribed, check to make sure you're still subscribed. There have been reports of people being unsubscribed from their favorite channels. All right. General energy, Path of the Serpent now. We've got more major arcana energy. We've got the Art or Temperance card. To me, this is the card of the spiritual retort. This is the crucible. This is the furnace. This is the oven. This is the test kitchen. This is the pressure cooker, right? So it's kind of like we're looking at this as this is maybe a test of my resolve. Maybe Spirit's saying that this is the path you must stay on, even if it doesn't feel good. Because it is making you stronger. It is strengthening you. This is something that you're meant to suffer through, right? Maybe this is something that, yeah, you're already stronger from this situation. Is it time to get the heck out of there? Right? So we're looking at this as a challenging situation, and we think there's some sort of spiritual benefit to being in this pressure cooker, whether it's a relationship, a work thing, a family thing, friends, whatever. I'm suffering thus because it is making me stronger. It is part of my purification, perhaps. And that may very well be. I feel like we're looking at the situation in that way. But their intuition is telling you something. It might be telling you that, okay, you've been in the fire enough. You've been in the oven for long enough. You're done, right? It's time to get out and cool off and let the sugars crystallize a little bit. You know what I mean? Let's see what's in the environment. Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles, this position in the spread, it's about our relationships, it's about our environment. Sometimes it's about what we're projecting into the environment. Sometimes it's part of our shadow, right? I feel like the Knight of Pentacles in this case is you in this furnace, in this pressure cooker, in this very kind of difficult, challenging, maybe painful situation, and looking at the future and thinking, I'm going to be such a delicious cake when this is done, right? That we're trying to endure the present by hoping for the future, by looking at that future life and saying, this is all going to be worth it. This is the only thing keeping me going, is knowing that in a week, a month, a year, 5, 10 years, it's going to be a good thing, right? So it's almost like the suffering now is an investment in our future best life, right? This could be a trick, could be a delusion. It could be the confusion of the narrow lunar aperture, okay? It might be just the way we're tricking ourselves into staying where we are, okay? And that's why I mean that it kind of is a projection. It's kind of a shadow thing, and maybe we don't realize that we are. That we're using this as kind of the only thing that's allowing me to endure this is the hope of a better future, right? We've got to listen to our intuition. We've got to increase this lunar aperture and open up that psychic energy. The fear, worry, concern, the challenge, the difficulty is the Four of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is something that is routine, it's familiar. This is safety, security, stability. This might be a bit of an illusion too. This is the card that says, the one thing that's keeping me from change, the one thing that's keeping me from my destiny, is that this is familiar. I'm used to this. Yeah, it's uncomfortable and I'm suffering, but the idea of having to venture out into the dark wilderness, the scary kind of nighttime here, like the Moon card, I'd rather stay here in the kitchen. I'd rather stay here where at least I know what's what, and at least I know what to expect. Even if it's a very uncomfortable, maybe it's a very isolating situation, maybe it's cramped, maybe it's very claustrophobic, but at least it's comfortable, right? Sometimes we look at like a really restrictive situation as like, well, just a big hug, but it's like a hug that never lets go. Eventually it's like, let me out of here, But I think that this is the obstacle for you, is realizing that just because this is now familiar, you've adapted to it, it's kind of become a routine or it's become a habit, still doesn't mean it's good for you, right? Still doesn't mean it's where you need to be. Let's look at the outcome card or the destiny card. Well, that's the Eight of Cups. Now, this is interesting as far as outcomes go, right? Because we're aspiring to the Hierophant. We want this sacred experience of life that we want to either become the master or this kind of, if it's a career thing or whatever, we want to become the very best version of ourselves. We want to kind of, we want to reach the heights of which we are capable, spiritually and earthly. But over here, we see the outcome of the particular path that you're on may be one of just in sorrow, disappointment. Right? The longer we stay in this Four of Pentacles, the less likely we're going to be to ever get out of it. Okay? So we get more and more comfortable with this pressure cooker, with this uncomfortable, situation we're in, and the more we adapt to it, the more difficult it becomes to get out of it. Right? And we start to kind of think, well, it's not that bad. Right? We start to feel like, oh, it's not that bad. It could be a lot worse, right? And so we just kind of, we get more and more demotivated to ever make a change. And this really could be a pessimism or a hopelessness that says, this is never going to change. This must be my path. This must be my destiny to just be here, right? But we could look at this card another way and say that, yeah, maybe the glass is only half full right now, but it's our job to fill it back up, to make those decisions, make those changes in our life that are going to fill the cup back up. Rather than this cup being half empty and also having a crack, things are just going to get worse and worse and worse, right? But maybe that's kind of what we need. Maybe we need to realize that this is a situation that's not going to get better on its own. You have to be proactive. Let's look at the mystery card. A lot of major arcana here today. Major arcana energy. We might see some air energy, some swords, right? We don't have any of that. But I feel like it's not really a mental thing for you. Let's not just sit there and intellectualize it, right? We've got already the intuition. We've got more kind of intuition, more or less intuition, right? We've got that sense of destiny, the sense of purpose, the spiritual insight. I don't think we need the air energy. What I might be feeling here is the Hermit card, your power card, but also a pretty clear indication of what Spirit is maybe suggesting here, or how this energy is tending to flow. Now, the tarot will never tell you what to do. I will never tell you what to do. What we do is take a snapshot of the energy as it is right now as I'm talking, and where all of this energy might be going. What is the natural result of some of this energy? I think it's a Hermit. I think it's us putting some distance between this situation and ourselves so that we can open up that spiritual lunar aperture and really feel what's going on and really get a clear indication of what our next move should be. Going Hermit mode might even be you seriously just withdrawing from this situation. You know, it might be you getting the heck out of there. If you have a prediction for the card, put it in the comments. Oh, a 9 of Pentacles. Interesting. Interesting. This, I think, is the guide. This is really, this is the way forward for you. This is you living your best life. 9 of Pentacles. I mean, look at that figure there. Living their best life. They got their pets, their plants, their people are around there somewhere. They're taking it slow. They're living lavish. They are enjoying their life. Right? Having abundance all around you. Living your best life. Well, that's a big difference from the 8. So the 8 is saying like, well, you know, things are bad, but they could be worse. I should just be happy with where I'm at. Spirit is telling you this is the life that you could be having. This is the life that you deserve to be having. In success and abundance, whatever that means to you, this is what you deserve. This is what you should be pursuing, right? Not just saying, well, you know, it's good enough, I guess. Even though it's not. But we try to tell ourselves, we try to feel that. We try to find a reason to be okay with this. But this is the life that you really could have. So to me, and you know, I feel like this is you. My honest assessment is that this is you away from this situation. Right? This is you going your own way, getting away from this, getting yourself out of this pressure cooker, this fire, this challenging situation that doesn't seem to be improving. Okay, that feels like you've been committed to that for longer than you should. Okay, this is the life that you should be having. And I feel like this is you. This is how happy you could be if you weren't here, right? If you weren't in this current circumstance. Okay, and I don't usually talk like this, you know. I don't usually say things so like definitively because tarot's very open to interpretation, okay? And I'm not making decisions for you. These readings are for entertainment purposes. You've got to make your own responsible choices, you know. But if I had to look at all these cards and then I see this, I say, this is what we want. And this is the guide. This is what this is the message coming from Spirit. It's kind of like, look at the future self that you really could be having. Look at the life, look at the experience that you should be having. Okay. We're going to do an extended reading. If you want to stick around, there is a link up top. There's one down below. New readings for Virgo, Tuesdays and Saturdays. This was a bonus. I felt like you need it. I could see why now. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It's totally free. It doesn't cost anything. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. Let me know how you're doing. Especially if you're a first-time viewer, welcome to the channel. Thank you for clicking on the video. I hope you'll stick around. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.